This is the Earth. On the left side, we have the apocalyptic version of the Earth. The 48 degrees Celsius Earth. This is the nightmare for climate scientists, probably because, well, none of us are going to enjoy a 48 degrees Celsius Earth. This is the barren landscape Earth. This is the one where humans will probably not even survive. And even if they are survivors, they're going to have a really hard time trying to adapt. And then, contrasting on the right side, we have the more or less more peaceful Earth. Sure, we still have extreme weather events, but this is more or less the 1.5 degrees Celsius to the 2 degrees Celsius Earth. And there is a middle line of 3 degrees Celsius, which is bad, but not that bad. Currently, our world is in a 1.5 degrees Celsius world, and the agreement of the Paris Treaty wants us to keep that 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of 2050, or was it 2100? Regardless of whenever it was, we will fail it. We have already failed it. So the best we can do is to go ahead and go somewhere near it. Now, obviously, before we can even continue talking about this, what the heck am I talking about? What is climate change? Here we go. Normally, when sun's light hits something, it does either of the two things. Gets absorbed and gets reflected. Or just does one of each. Now, that happens towards the Earth too. Once it hits the Earth's surface, it gets bounced off, but the heat goes into the Earth too, just on very small amounts, probably because there is nothing supposed to trap it in there. Fortunately for us, so there is something that traps it in there, and we call it the atmosphere. Let me try to draw that again. The atmosphere makes sure that sunlight, once it goes ahead and comes down, well, it gets trapped in, so that it bounces off the atmosphere, goes back to the Earth to be absorbed, so that whenever it goes ahead and runs out of heat, well, it's gonna heat the Earth. And since the sun literally shoots millions of these rays at a time, you, well, have just created global warming, except this one is natural. We humans have been the cause for global warming for at least the last 200 years, which is like when the Industrial Revolution started, and then the computer age, every other advancement happened. Like, human advancement went from like this and exponentially went up. Get it? Like, our progress, it got exponentially faster. Now, carbon dioxide and methane gas and nitrogen and phosphate gases, they are all part of the atmosphere too. They are the gases that help trap the, well, solar energy inside it too, the rays of light that I'm talking about. And if there's more of it, well, more of it gets trapped in because sunlight can still escape from it, and in large quantities to go ahead and at least regulate the temperature of the Earth. Fortunately for the atmosphere, and unfortunately for us, though, is that, well, the atmosphere goes ahead, gets a boost from 200 years ago, probably because of our factories pumping out CO2 and our livestock, especially cows, pumping out methane, which went ahead and created this. Boom. It's an atmosphere. And how it works is that sunlight comes in and it's supposed to bounce off, but more sunlight gets bounced by the atmosphere. It's supposed to, well, escape a large amounts of quantity so that at least temperature will be regulated, but instead of that, it just gets, well, only a little bit is able to escape. And that piece of atmosphere is starting to go ahead and, well, increase by the likes too. And, one more thing, our protective layer of the atmosphere that we know as the ozone layer, this is the main use of O2 in the atmosphere, is starting to get holes in it due to the fact that, well, unfortunately for the atmosphere, carbon dioxide really likes to make holes in ozone layers. As a result, along with the sun's radiation, well, more harmful UV radiation will start coming in too. And that's a problem for us, obviously. Now, this process happens naturally. Sure, the global warming happens naturally too. But we humans have accelerated by a little too much. If you take a look at a climate diagram, which unfortunately I couldn't find one with high enough resolution, it would always look something like this in the history of the Earth. It would be like, goes up, but then it gets tanked down pretty quickly too. It's just steady. It just steady, very steady, until you get to the last 200 years of human history, and boom, it suddenly like skyrockets too. That skyrocket happened because of all the carbon dioxide, all the extra methane gas that we have entered into the atmosphere to go ahead and make it look more like this. We still haven't reached this scenario yet, and scientists are speculating that we have missed this scenario, and that we are more likely going to a middle ground scenario, 3 degrees Celsius world. So what can we do to go ahead and make a change about this? Firstly, we have solar power. Solar power is one of the most efficient things that we have ever thought of, because we're literally using the power of the sun, and we're capturing the sun's energy to go ahead and create all that beautiful power. And then we have wind turbines, which, well, use wind to turn their turbines, which turns a generator, which in turn creates sweet, sweet electricity. So we can go ahead and fix all these, right? Yeah, and the cost of all these have gone down too. One of the main reasons that climate change was done nothing about in like the 2010 to 2020 decade, and even the decades before that, was probably because of all the costs of engineering. And back then, solar panels were still kind of new technology, including wind turbines. Well, new as in the sense of other technologies. But ever since then, solar panels have gone down by like 9 to 10 times. Like, solar power and wind power all have gone down with their cost by like 9 to 10 times. They're 9 to 10 times cheaper now. And probably more today too. Problem solved, right? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Wind turbines don't work when there's no wind. Obviously, you can move it manually, but very inefficient. And, well, solar panels don't exactly work during the night. So during the day, you're going to need large amounts of batteries to store all that energy somewhere, otherwise you just wasted a bunch of energy. Ironically, even the price of lithium-ion batteries have gone down significantly. So now that everything's cheaper, the fossil fuel industry won't really need to go ahead and make more money by emitting too. Countries who want to maintain their GDP don't need to go ahead and increase their emissions. In the olden days, that was unfortunately a true fact. If you wanted to make a profit, you're going to need to release emissions. But now, that doesn't seem to be the case. You can go ahead and help save the environment and still make a profit, because you're helping the developing countries that still haven't had any of those fossil fuel plants to go ahead, and you help them get their renewables too. You invest all the technology into it, and then you go ahead and make it cheaper for everyone to use, including yourself. And once you make it cheaper for everyone to use, well, you're gonna burn a smaller hole in your wallet. It will still burn a hole, but it'll be much smaller. Better to pay the bill now, instead of ending up to live in a world like this. A 4 degrees Celsius world is unbearable. Coastal lands will go ahead and probably recede. Oceans will go ahead and make their extreme climate changes. But one question that really bugged me was, why were people not doing any of these? So apparently there were 4 stages of climate change. Stage 1 was, alright, climate change isn't real. Stage 2 was, climate change is real, but it's not created by humans. Stage 3 was, climate change is real and created by humans, but it isn't that bad. And stage 4 was, the end is nigh. The doomed scenarios. That was pretty much how it worked out. More younger people go into positions of power, and they have more advocates too. People like Greta Thunberg, also I'm pretty sure she's old enough to leave for college right now, went ahead and created several things. They were able to go ahead and create movements, create protests that went ahead and made sure climate change was real too. You should go ahead and make sure your future doesn't look bleak too. Now that we have all these options, and with technologies invested into more climate change friendly policies, such as biomeat or maybe fusion reactor technology, which could make clean, renewable, endless, limitless power of all time, we have become more hopeful too. Despair and hopeful are the only trump cards that left in the fossil fuel industry's hands, who are still trying to advocate for climate change isn't real and that it isn't that big of a problem. Also, we have missed the apocalyptic scenario. We can make it go down, and we can prove the predictions wrong again. Probably go to a 3 degrees Celsius world, which we are currently going towards, and then probably from there, we are going to a 2 degrees Celsius world. Maybe this is the best case scenario for all of us. But seriously, in the end though, it is our job to go ahead and make sure that we pay the bill right now, so that we can go ahead and make sure that our future generations, well, don't have to do anything stupid. Oh, and apparently lunar panels exist, so that was the thing I wanted to share. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I will see you in my next project. Bye bye.